right, I have to. I'm not good at this, and I get really nervous. So just don't expect too much. All right. So this is what I've found lately, and this is what I've found lately. When I get nervous and I talk about the Republicans and I talk about Donald toilet emoji, there's one word that just keeps coming out of my mouth. So I have a visual aid because I feel that I need to put this word in the closet. So it's this word, and it's that word. So I'm gonna just try when it comes out, just do this and do that, okay? All right, so I wanna be funny and I wanna be charming and I wanna be cute. But I want to. I'm not a stats kind of person, but I want to tell you something about why I'm here and why I'm appealing to you and why I want to talk to you. I know I'm appealing to you, but so I don't. You might not know this, or if you do, just hang and listen. Let the others listen. So my grandmother picked cotton, and my mother used to sit on the gunny sack, and my grandmother would drag her along and feed her. My mother, when she was 8 years old, she sang on bar tops to feed the family. When I grew up, we were very poor. Sometimes my mother would marry someone rich, and it would be like, what the fuck is this? Oh. But mostly we were very poor. So when people tweet me or say something like, you know, you stupid libtard, you have no idea what's going on in the world, and what have you ever suffered from, and blah, 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 blah. I know what it feels like to have no one care about you, to have no power, you know, to be different. I mean, I suffered so much when I was young because I was dyslexic and I wasn't Sandra Dee. You know, and that was a big thing, and I was poor, so there was like a lot of shame associated with it. And I think that maybe that's why we've always been close, because we're outsiders in some sort of way, you know. And we've always been outsiders, and we've always been close. And I don't know how that happened, except I met my first gay guys when I was 9, and you know, I came from a family of and friends, artists, painters, models. I didn't even know there were ugly people till I went out into the world. But then one day I came home and there were these 2 hairdressers in the living room, and I thought, well, these guys are more fun than anybody I know. Okay, so there was kind of love at first sight, and it never went away. And as I've said before, and this is the truth, you guys, when people kind of left me, and I've had plenty of ups and downs, you guys kept me in beads for my whole life. So I want to thank you for that, because I really feel that there's some sort of bond, and you know, it's just the bond. So thank you. I think that every one of us in this room knows one reason or 50 reasons why we are terrified and don't like Donald Trump. Yes. Right. But there are more reasons that he's just like, I was talking to my friend yesterday, and I was saying, you know, he had so many. Like on paper, he looks so good. You know, he was brought up rich. He had a good education. He's got all these young chicks. I don't know how young, but he's got all these young chicks, and he just keeps trading them in on younger chicks. And he's got all this money, and he's famous, and still he's such a. He's so horrible and so mean and just I don't know why he has no milk of human kindness in him, but I don't believe that you could just get a drop out of him. You know, I just don't believe he has anything. So it scares me. He scares me because he's surrounding himself with people who are really frightening and heinous, and you don't know the half of it, but you have to trust me, I do. Okay? I can't go into it now but trust me, I swear to God, this is true. So there are people that surround him who are horrendous, and this is another thing I really hate about him. He, yes, there's so many. Shall I just stand and just name them all?
Yeah!
Okay, you have to bring cots. You have to have cots in here. So anyway, but like, he has had more Chapter 11s than anybody in 30 years. Okay? What is that shit? And also, he's taken so many people down. I was watching this video, and it was heart-wrenching. I was crying. There was this man, maybe in his 50s, you know, and he was talking about that his father, who owned a small business, and I saw it was a beautiful kind of brick building, and his father had done all this work at the Taj Mahal. He finished the work, and Donald Trump didn't want to pay him. So, which seems to be a big theme, okay? I can tell you another one I know. Anyway, so he didn't want to pay him. So the man was bereft, and so Donald Trump said, all right, if you do more work for me, I will pay you. So he did more work for him and said, it wasn't that good, I'll pay you half. So the man lost his building, and the son was talking about that his father always said, it was like his dream that someday before he died, he would be able to get his business back and have his building back again. And the man, he was in his 50s or something, and he just had tears dripping down his face. And you cannot cause that kind of carnage and be so inhumane and insensitive and lead a country. You cannot do it. And there's another thing, you might know about this, but when he had to trash Bonwit Teller to build the big Trump whatever. Right. So he got all these Polish workers. They had no green cards. They just were here illegally. And so they did all this work. They worked double shifts. They worked 7 days a week. And then at the end, he didn't want to pay them. So he decided he would pay them some fraction. And they started to be upset, and they started to be vocal. And he said, if you keep acting like this, I will have you deported. You will have no money, and you will be deported. And this is the kind of person we want to lead the country. So I mean, there are many reasons. I mean, you don't make fun of people who are infirmed. You don't, like, I'm not a John McCain fan, but I remember when he was in the Hanoi Hilton, he got his arms broken in 2 different places. You cannot say he's not a war hero because Trump. Okay? Because he's a fucking, oh, I missed my pretty good too. Anyway, he just should not be he shouldn't be in control of the remote. Okay, he just shouldn't. And so I think that also something that really has something that's really bothered me, and I mean I guess I have a bigger temper than I realize, but. Yeah, I'm longing for the Tea Party, for Christ's sake. But when he, you know, there are like 3/4 of Republicans believe that President Obama is a Muslim from Kenya. Okay, and so he started that. He nurtured that. He wouldn't let it go. He just said begrudgingly, nah, okay, whatever. He's American. Next, and what I see, and this I see is the most dangerous thing. Except tweeting me. It was like, I said, dude, get a grip, okay? I don't think Lincoln or Kennedy would tweet me. So if you want to be president, just up your game a little bit. So anyway, I just think that the fact that he is so vengeful and so petty, and that he would bring down our democracy, that he would actually bring down our democracy because he's not getting what he wants, you know? So I have nothing good to say about him. I've never had anything good to say about him. I saw him, and I had a house in Aspen, and so and sometimes I saw him in this place called Mezzaluna, and he was very like, get up and go get the salt, go to the bathroom 12 times. And it was like, dude, everyone sees you, no one gives a fuck, okay? We're rich, we're famous, we don't care who you are. Right. And the comb over looks worse after skiing than it did when you started. So that's all I'm going to say about him, because he's just... and now I'm going to talk about her. And the first thing I'm going to say is she's not perfect, okay? And we love her, and she's not perfect, but I believe, I know her. I can't say I'm a bosom buddy and we sit on the phone and bullshit, but I've spent time with her, and at a time, I spent time with her when I was helping her to become senator. And I couldn't like figure her out. And we were doing this tea, and we would, like, she would talk, and she was very good, and I was quite surprised, warm and chatty Kathy, and you know, and then they would finish the tea, and then we would have to go back into this little room while they set up a new tea. And we were talking, and then I kind of like, I'm gonna grill her. And so I started just asking, you know, kind of probing questions. He probably knew, but and what I found out was she was very willing to open up. And I said, you know, why are you such a hard ass kind of? Why do people think you're such a hard ass? And she said, you know, when Bill asked me to try to get health care, when we were first in the White House, she said, and the Republicans came down on me so hard, and it was so vengeful, and it was so personal. She said I had to just hold on and kind of grit my teeth, or I would have cried, and I didn't want to let them have the satisfaction. And so, you know, I think that it's hard for her to get up in front of a bunch of people. Al Gore was the same way. He was the funniest person, not in front of a bunch of people. So I think that she's doing a great job, and I think... And I just think she just trashed Trump's mammoth ass on those debates. So I honestly believe that with her higher angels, she has the possibility to make a great president. And not just because she's a woman, but I'm pretty happy that she's a woman. Also, with the Trump presidency, I would be worried for almost every group of people that aren't white. You know? Anybody that's got any little suntan, I'd be frightened for, you know? And Mike Pence, I mean, he signed into law that horrible thing that everyone knows about. No, I mean, I believe that everything would be rolled back. Every single gain we've made, every single thing that has been wrong in our country for so long. I mean, Republicans don't want anybody to vote. You know, unless you're blonde with blue eyes, you don't get to vote. So I think that with them in office and the people he would choose to be in the Supreme Court, to be in the cabinet, I think that it would just be a disaster, and we would feel the brunt of it for 40 years, you know? I think it would just be that bad. So, anyway, and I really think, you know, I really think she's going to do a good job, and I'm going to pray that she does a good job. Okay? So I don't have much more to say, except I'm going to sign my visual aid, and then it can be auctioned off. And it has that, and it has that. So I just want to tell you, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to do whatever I can do.
Thank you, Cher!